Can you believe it? Here we are again in another fast as we do our review. Man, I am so excited to be in this space right now, and you're catching me right now. Guess how many hours? Guess how many hours? 78, a little over 78 and a half hours. That's right. So we started our fast on Tuesday at noon. And so we've been kind of going through the fast. You've been with us over the last several days as we've gone through this fast. And here, we're going to break the fast with you right now, here in just a little while, as we get ready to have our discussion, our complete review of fasting. Now today, I want to do something a little different, because if you were with me last night when I did my check-in, you heard some things that happened. And I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the fast itself. We'll go through our regular discussion in brief, but I want to spend some time talking about while we are in the fast itself. So glad that you're here. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes. We're talking to those who are on the metabolic spectrum, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, obesity. All of those things get better as we work on diabetes and as we implement some of those things, even if you're not diabetic, to get better health. We're living a limitless life. And limitless living says that we are not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be healthy and to get our health, our wellness where it needs to be. If you've been with us before, you know how we do, but if not, I've got my monitors, which we'll take a look at in a minute. I've got my blood sugar monitors. I've got a Contour and a Keto Mojo, which gives me both blood sugar and ketones. And then right below me, that is my Dexcom report, which we'll take a look to see what's been going on over the last 7 days with my blood sugars, and specifically over the last 3 days as I've been fasting. So once again, once again, 78 plus hours of fasting, and we'll go through that. So if you are here, you're asking, why are we fasting? What are we doing? What's the premise of all that we're doing? And the goal for what we're doing is to improve our metabolic health, specifically to reverse diabetes. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now who have diabetes or pre-diabetes, and our goal is to help those people to improve their health, to get off of medications, to begin stopping and reducing the complications that come from diabetes, and for those who are heading in that direction, to reverse the process and go in the other way. If you have high blood pressure, the things that we do will help to improve blood pressure. If you have high cholesterol, the things we talk about will improve the cholesterol. Fatty liver, obesity. That's right. One of the side effects of what we do is weight loss. And we'll take a look at what's been going on with my weight also as we move through the rest of the show. What I want to do is I want to go ahead now and also I'm going to be breaking my fast after over 78 hours. I'm going to be breaking my fast. I'll show you some of the things that I have right next to me, and we'll eat that here in just a minute, because I want to get that on or get that in me so that you can begin seeing as I go through the show what happens to my blood sugar. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to start right there by showing you what my blood sugar is. And this is my Freestyle Libre. You'll see for most of the afternoon, starting about 3 o'clock, my blood sugar has been below 70, and I'm looking at this graph right here. You see the squiggly line at the beginning, and then you see the red line starting right about 3 o'clock. And we'll take a look in a minute when I go to my Dexcom to see exactly what those numbers are. This one doesn't allow me to kind of scroll through. If I go over to the Dexcom, and it says right now my blood sugar is 75. If I go to the 75-hour review, I can actually put my finger on that, and we'll see what the numbers have been going. And so this is starting this morning. Actually, I want to go back to 24 hours because I want you to see that. So last night, blood sugars, when we did our check-in, were in the 60s and 70s, right, into the night as I started sleeping, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And right here is where a lot of people get confused. Right, you'll see right there about 3, 4 o'clock, actually 6 o'clock in the morning is when it had the spike. That's when I woke up and brushed my teeth, right? And there is toothpaste. The toothpaste has what? It has sugar. And so you'll see a spike up there, and hopefully it didn't get too high. It got up to what, 103, I think was the highest. Let me make sure, 103. Yeah, so it went from down here in the 80s to 103, and then started coming back down into the 90s, 80s, 70s, and so we've kind of hung out in the 70s for most of the afternoon. All right, so that's what that shows. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go back to this one and go ahead and grab my monitors. We'll take a look at those because I want you to. Sometimes we want to compare and see what's what. So let me grab the brown is my blood sugar for the Keto Mojo. The blue is the ketone, and let me go ahead and take out some Lancets, and I'll have 2 out just in case one doesn't work well. Put that back, and then I also want to grab, and these are the strips for the contour, so I'm going to open and grab one of those out. Boom, boom, boom. Right, and let's go ahead and get that in. And I want to do this right at the beginning because I want to go ahead and break my fast so that you can see where that is. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. We'll get that strip in here. And also open the strip for the ketone, but we'll keep that off to the side. I'm going to grab a Lancet and open that up. And so let's get this over here. So you can see, yeah, that's the little needle, right? And I've been using this this 4th finger because the other ones that I use are a little bit more calloused. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, hopefully that gives me a good flow of blood. Oh, it hurt, but it didn't it didn't do much. Okay, that's not good. All right, so out there. I think that one did. Okay, yeah. So I got a brisk flow that time. The first time I pressed, but I didn't feel it like go through the skin. All right, so get those started. I'm gonna have to keep milking this because I need one more drop. So 83 is what the Keto Mojo says, and 74 for the contour. Let's go ahead and get a strip for my ketones. So what do you think my ketones are gonna be after 78 hours? After over 78 hours of fasting. Let's grab this and all right, so get that started there. So what do you think the ketones are going to be? Take a guess, take a guess, take a guess. Now, while that is doing that, what I want to do is come over here and take a look at one of the other side effects that we've been getting from fasting. And here is my, this is my weight. And so as you know, I use the Fit Index app to track my weight. And let's see, I'm going to go to trends. And let's take a look at the past month. All right, so the past month, so we started here, right about here, at 197 pounds. Well, if I can get my finger on it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, there it is. Yes, 197 pounds. And we're going to kind of scroll through, right? 190, 187, 189. So notice what's happening. So here it went up a little bit. So it went from 197 down to 189, then back up to 190, and then down to 186, and then up to 189, and then down to 184. All right. So when I'm fasting, and I tell people for each day that you fast, you probably will have somewhere on average about a pound a day for the fast. I used to tell people 1.1 to 1.2 pounds is what you will see. And let's see. And then today, this morning, what was it? Actually, let me do this. I'm just gonna let's do the week. All right. So at the beginning of the week, So 184, and you'll see there the fluctuations that I've had, right? 184, 186, 186, 187, 186, 184, back down to 184. And if I go back further for last week, right, 189. And so what you're seeing is over the course of the time that we've been fasting for the last couple of weeks, well, let me go back even further. How about, let's start here. Right, so 197, right? So that was the beginning of that was last month, about a little over a month ago, right? So 197, and so for each day that I fast, I lose about a pound-ish, and so from last month to now, so we've gone from 197 down to 184, 197 down to 184, okay? And so people ask me all the time, people stop and say, hey, what are you doing? And sometimes I don't jump into, oh, I'm fasting, right? Because sometimes we have a negative idea of fasting. But eventually we talk about fasting. But so that's what it is, right? So I want you to see that up front. I want you to see what the benefits are of fasting. So let me talk about that. The things that we're seeing in fasting are simply side effects of fasting. I want you to get that. So people will say, are you fasting for blah, 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 right? Whatever that may be. And the answer probably is yes. So we fast because we are working on reversing diabetes. That's what you hear me say. That's what I said at the top of the show. We're fasting to reverse diabetes. But the things that we do for diabetes have side effects. And one of the side effects, and when I say side effects, any effect that happens is a side effect, right? So it doesn't mean it's a negative. So as a result of what I'm doing for reversing diabetes, I am seeing the weight loss. As a result of what I'm doing for diabetes, I'm seeing that my insulin resistance gets better. As I do what I'm doing for diabetes, I see that my blood pressure gets better, right? So all of those downstream things are simply side effects. That's the beauty of this. We'll come back to talk about that in just a minute. So you saw what my numbers were. Let's go ahead and let's do the ketones. Since let's just pull it up. Since we're here, let me get this one off the screen. I'll have to open this back up and grab my Keto Mojo. All right, and let's go ahead and get that synced. And so what do you think? I think I saw someone out there put some couple of numbers in. Actually, let me not do that yet. Let me go say hello to our community members, and then we'll come back and look at it because I want to see I want to see the guesses that they put in into the chat. So let me go ahead. We're gonna pop over and say hello. Let's see, where are we? So I see Steve out there, and Steve is saying that he thinks that that we're going to be 2.6. Oh, let me do this. Yeah, there we go. 2.6. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Gion says, hi, doctor. Hi, Steve. And Gion is guessing 2.8, right? 2.6 and 2.8 is what we have. So let's go ahead, and I've already synced it, right? So I have not looked at it yet. So I'm going to get this off the screen. And while I do that, I'm going to put some things on the table. All right. So I see 2.6. I see 2.8. And let's go ahead and drum roll, please. Here we are. So 1.3. Look at that. With a blood sugar of 83. Right, 1.3. So blood sugars or ketones. Let's talk ketones. Ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic. So I'm in the nutritional ketosis space. So my blood sugars are lower, not low, lower. The ones that I have recently have been low, below 70, and my ketones are 1.3. So that tells me that my body is burning fat, and in burning the fat, boom, there it is, 1.3. Okay? So that's where we are. And let's go ahead and pull over now so you guys get to see what I am eating. And so this is, I had one of our community members say or tell me what she wanted me to eat. So Juyeon, this is to you. So she said nuts and salad. She also said chicken or meat. So I don't have any chicken or meat, so I'm not going to eat any of that. I haven't cooked it yet. Right? So I have this, but what I did do is I brought an avocado. So let me do this. I brought an avocado that I'm going to actually cut right here, and we're going to get a chance to eat that together. All right? So let me go ahead and let's record what my blood sugars are. All right, so blood sugar according to my freestyle is 68, and according to my Dexcom is 76. And I'm going to eat the salad. I'm going to start with the salad because that's the one that's going to raise the blood sugar. And of course, you know, I've got my handy dandy dressing, which I love. This is what I do. All right, so we're gonna get some salad dressing on there. And so this is a salad that has some romaine lettuce. It has some carrots. I think there's some radishes in there. What else? Yeah, I think romaine. I think that's it. And then of course cheese. So I've got some shredded cheese down below. So that's what you see down here. All right, some shredded cheese, and then I have some shaved Parmesan. So I'm a cheeseaholic, y'all. So, and here is, and so we had someone who looked up for us what's a serving of salad dressing, and let's take a look at this, guys. This is what I'm doing. This is ranch, right? The Hidden Valley version, and let's see. So we've got 17 grams of fat. This is per serving. We've got, where are the carbs? 1 gram of carbs and 1 gram of added sugar, 130 calories. And a serving is, see, do you see a serving in there? But let me see. Let me hold it, because I'm trying to read upside down. So a serving is about, so this thing has about 35 servings. So a serving is 2 teaspoons. You see that right there? 2 teaspoons. Okay. So that's what we've got. So let's go ahead and we're gonna start eating here in just a minute. Let me do one thing. Just had a message pop up on my computer, so I need to make a change here really quickly. Give me a second, guys. All right, so here we are. Let's go here, and boom, here we go. So let's go ahead and move this over. All right, so this is processing. All right, so this is where we are, and let's go ahead and grab. So go ahead and grab this. So I'm gonna start eating. All right, so first bite. Let's see, let's do this one. That's so good. Delicious. So, let's talk a little bit about fasting. So, fasting is the voluntary abstinence from food. And I want to give that definition because sometimes people say to me, why are you starving yourself? Okay? So I want you to understand that fasting is voluntary. I'm not starving. Starving is not voluntary. So I've decided that I'm going to be using fasting as a tool to get the benefits that come from fasting. So what are some of those benefits? And this goes back to our idea of reversing diabetes. Right? When we talk about reversing diabetes, the pillars of reversing diabetes are decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. That's what we're doing. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, reduce sugar. So, because sugar is the culprit, it is the thing that makes everything else problematic. The dysfunctional metabolism, as we talked about, happens because of sugar or because of insulin. So the very first thing that we want to do is decrease the insulin. And when we don't eat, it allows the body to use up the sugar that was in the system. And as it uses the sugar up, it no longer has the need for that much insulin. So your insulin level goes down. I want you to get that. That is a key. Now that is for people who are diabetic or people who are not diabetic, because we all have insulin in our bodies. So when we don't eat, when we're not putting anything in, because most of the times we eat carbs, right? So even if you're minimizing your carb, even if you're on a ketogenic diet, even if you are on a paleo diet, there's something that you're eating that has carbs in it. So when you are fasting, automatically, by virtue of fasting, you are decreasing the sugar in your body, carbs. When you do that, you're decreasing the amount of insulin that your body has to produce or the amount of insulin that you have to take, right? So that goes for both people who are not diabetic and for people who are diabetic. Okay? So when you decrease the insulin, because insulin is an appetite stimulant, it stimulates your appetite so that you get cravings. Some people will say to me, I was doing fine until I ate the cracker. This is not fasting, by the way. This is your normal day. You're doing fine until you ate the cracker. The moment you eat the cracker, your blood sugar had to go up, even if you're not diabetic. Your body has to deal with the sugar that comes from the cracker. And so it produces insulin to bring it down. That insulin, once it comes out, even though it fixes the blood sugar, the insulin stimulates the appetite. So when you're fasting, you're not putting any food in, hence the carbs go down, the blood sugar goes down, the insulin has to go down. When the insulin goes down, it stops stimulating the appetite. Right? Pillar 2. That's 2. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite. And then because you're not eating, you're not putting anything in, you've automatically decreased or reduced your insulin, your sugar. Right? And those are the pillars. Those are the 3 pillars. Decrease insulin, suppress appetite, and reduce sugar. So fasting does all of that. And once you start fasting, when your body is done using the sugar that's floating around in your blood, it's done eating the food that you just ate. In order for your body to continue to run, to continue to function, it has to find energy somewhere. And where does it find energy? First, it goes to the liver. So it cleans the liver out. Glycogen goes away after about 24, 36 hours, right? Usually 24. Once glycogen goes away, the body still needs to function. And if you're still fasting, guess what? It now turns to what? It now turns to the fat cells and it begins burning the fat. That's where the ketones come from. The ketones that you guys just saw me check. They are coming from the fact that my body is burning sugar. So when you see my blood sugar, when you see my weight going down, the weight is going down as a direct consequence of the fasting. Because if my body still needs to work, still needs to run, I still need to think, I still need to, my heart has to go. All of that happens, and it needs energy. And so the body has to find sugar somewhere or find energy somewhere. I hope that makes sense. This is delicious. All right. Love it, love it, love it. So let me show you what I'm almost done with this. Well, I don't know that I'm gonna eat all of it. So that's what's going on in the fast. Now, let me tell you about this week. Last night, actually. Well, let me back up to earlier this week. I went camping. Amazing time. So I come back and I'm excited. Got good rest once I got home. And then, as you know, we're doing our series in the morning, 100 days. And by the way, yesterday was day 100. Hand clap, music. So for all of you who've been with us, yay, 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 yay. Celebration. Well, I'm getting ready for starting the next phase of our activity. Because after all, if we're reversing diabetes, we're not just talking about food. We're talking about your activity. We're talking about sleep. We're talking about all those types of things. So I'm getting ready for the next phase of our series. And I'm doing some stuff in the back, right, in our sunroom. And so I stay up. And so we went camping over the weekend, so came home Sunday. Went to sleep. Slept like all afternoon, all evening into the morning. Did well. Did our show Monday night. And then, right, got bright idea that I was gonna work out in the sunroom afterwards. So I ended up staying up until 3 o'clock that morning. Come back now, the next night, still doing some stuff in the back, getting ready. Stayed up until 4:30 that morning. All the while, so I've started fasting now, right? And then yesterday, I'm at work, my team had gone, and I'm sitting there just about to leave to come home to do my show for last night. And I was working on something, checking some email, doing some things, and then I woke up. Did you hear what I said? I was actually doing something on the computer, and then I found myself waking up. And 30 minutes had gone by, so I fell asleep there. So, got in the car, drove home, came home, got into the driveway, and I had some things in the car I was going to take out. So, put the car in park, turned off the engine, and I fell asleep. And so I got on last night, and I was telling you guys about that. And I was exhausted. I was exhausted. And the reason I wanted to tell that story is when I was just before I got to the show last night. I'm sitting here getting ready. I'm getting ready to talk about two things. I'm getting ready to talk about the fast, because at that time we were 57 hours into the fast. And I was talking about how we identify what we do with our personhood, right? So what do you do? Well, I am right? So that's how we begin to explain ourselves or introduce ourselves. Let me do this quick. So I'm done with the salad. Okay. And I've got the nuts that I'm going to eat right here. I'm going to start eating those. While I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get this avocado. All right, so we're telling the story. So anyway, so I'm talking about the fact that we identify ourselves with what we do. Well, part of that whole process was that I wasn't doing a good job of resting, right? And so I'm here getting ready for the show, and as I'm getting ready for the show, my brain says, "Hey, why don't you go in the kitchen and get a snack?" Now remember, I'm fasting. I'm supposed to not end the fast until today. As I walked into the kitchen and opened the refrigerator, and I started grabbing something out. And as I'm grabbing, I'm seeing my hand go into the refrigerator, grab whatever it was. I forgot what it was in the refrigerator I was grabbing. I think probably some cheese. And as I'm doing that, it occurs to me, well, dude, what are you doing? You can't eat that right now because you are what? Because you are fasting. But the reason that was important for me to share with you is notice that in the process of fasting, if you are not doing a good job of self-care, getting good rest, hydrating, and we've talked about hydration before, then what happens is that even after 57 hours of fasting, when my appetite is not being stimulated, I'm not hungry, my ketones were high, if you remember when we checked in yesterday, all of the benefits that come from fasting, if we're not doing self-care, then we can still have those things that cause problem for us, as I described. Okay. All right, so we've got that. Got that peeled. That's our avocado. So you want to make sure that you are doing everything you can in the fast to keep yourself successful. All right, let me grab here's my fork. And for this, I usually use for avocados some sea salt, but I don't have any sea salt right now. I have, but I didn't bring it in. So I got regular salt. I'm gonna just sprinkle some of that on here. All right. And I just opened a new container of black pepper, so I'm gonna grind that. All right. Not a whole lot. And so people ask me, what do you break the fast with? Well, right now I'm breaking the fast because one of our community members asked me to use nuts, which I have there, and salad, which I did. And she said chicken or meat, but I haven't made it yet, so avocado. So remember, avocados are great because they have healthy fats, right? Remember Balanced Bites? Let me go over there. Remember our Balanced Bites? All right, remember this thing? So whole foods, minimize processing, no added sugar. And I guess I should change that to say minimize added sugar. Lean protein, healthy fats, right? So avocados are healthy fats. Nuts, which have fats in them, are healthy fats. For those people who are using, if you're not vegetarian or vegan, then lean meats. We talked to somebody this week. Turkey, fish, all of those are good if we're looking for healthy fats. And then starchy, non-starchy vegetables. You want to make sure it's tasty, and you want to make sure that it is portion controlled. Okay? Oh, well, let me come here so you can see. Not that one. So you guys are seeing my old lab results. You guys remember we did a show on that? Let's hop over here. Yeah, this is the one I wanted. All right, there we are. And I love avocados. What I should have done was weigh myself before the show and then eat. And so you can see what this does. Because one of the things that we don't talk about often is the actual weight of the food that we ate. Right? So people are like, well, why did my weight go up? We're like, well, you just ate like 3 pounds of food. Right? Right. Let's get a little bit more salt on that. A little bit more pepper. Oops. Let's get that out. All right. And so I'm almost done with the food. And then we'll see what the blood sugar is. So you see my, let's go here. The blood sugar actually went down, right? Because it was 69 when I started. Delicious. I could eat another one of those. Easily. And then now, we have the nuts, which I'm not going to finish all of these. This was actually a handful and a half, and they said 24 pieces was a serving. And this is just one of the Walmart containers that I got. And I almost put it back because I was going to get a smaller one. Because, you know, when you go to, not Walmart, Sam's. When you go to those places, they give you the giant size, the giant servings. But in here, my favorites would be cashews, almonds. I grew up eating a lot of walnuts. But I'm not too crazy about walnuts. They're some of the softer nuts. So here's that a hazel? No, hazel. Do I have hazelnuts in here? I don't think so. Well, whatever this nut is, I'm not sure. So walnuts are not necessarily my favorites. I do eat them. They do taste good. But if I had to pick my top nut, it would be the cashews and the almonds. Okay? So one of the more difficult groups of people to treat who have diabetes, believe it or not, happens to be people who are vegetarian and vegan. And the reason for that is that everything that we eat, everything that they eat, has carbs. And so we have to find a balance between the carbs and the proteins that they're eating. And so that, particularly if they're on insulin, because that can be a challenge. So our first goal is always to decrease the insulin, to get you off of the insulin. And if you're not on insulin, any medication that makes your body produce insulin. So if you're out there and you're asking me, hey, what would be the first step in my medications, right? And so I walk through that with people. We probably should come back and do that show again. To walk through the medications that we can possibly be on and what order we should get rid of those medications. Okay? All right. You guys think that's good enough? Just a couple more. All right, I'll do that much. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about the fast. So preparing for the fast is of paramount importance. There are 3 things that I want you to consider as you're getting into the fast. And let me go ahead and pull that up here in just a sec. And these are really the places that you want to be concentrating on, because the fast is important. If you do a good job of the fast, of preparing for the fast, when you get to the fast, then the fast goes better. And the things you want to pay attention to are, you want to make sure that you understand that fasting, that preparation is the key. You want to prepare mentally. That's huge. You want to come into the fast understanding what is going to happen during the fast. What are some of the switches, some of the places where your body's going to be changing, where hormones are happening. You want to make sure that you understand the type of fast that you're doing. One of the most important things for you to understand is that you get benefit. You get benefit regardless of the type of fast that you're doing. Whether you're doing a 16-8 or 12-12, one meal a day, an extended fast, like we're doing, you still get benefit, because once you start fasting, those 3 pillars, when you start fasting, your blood sugars automatically start going down. Remember, the first 6 hours after you eat, it's called the postprandial period. So the body at that point is still digesting the food. So I recommend for people, if they're going to fast, that they do more than a 6-hour fast. Because at that point, the body's still, like 6 hours later, your body's still dealing with the food that you just ate. So it's not until 6 hours where the blood sugars actually are starting to go down, the insulin levels are starting to drop, and your body is starting to think about going to get some of the stored food from the liver, the postprandial period. And so looking at the fast, any of the fasts that you do, once you stop eating, blood sugars begin coming down. When the blood sugars go down, then your body decreases the amount of insulin that it needs. So you've decreased the insulin. And once the insulin goes down, that's the key. Once the insulin goes down, then all the other downstream things begin happening. So we want insulin to be as low as possible for as long as possible. So when you're thinking about a fast, that's your ultimate goal. Because once insulin is there, your body cannot switch into ketosis. Or I shouldn't say can't switch in. It does not efficiently stay in ketosis. Let me say it that way. So that if you check my ketones right now and they say they're high, if I start eating, like I just started eating, and we go back and check my ketones in another couple of hours, we begin to see them dropping. Why? Because once I put the food in my mouth, the blood sugars start to go up and the insulin starts to rise. And once the insulin starts to rise, then all those downstream things begin going away. So you get benefit from all the fast, but the longer the fast is, the longer, the better, the more profound, the deeper, the faster those side effects that we talk about, the benefits, the faster those begin happening. So you can get weight loss if you do a 16-8, yes, intermittent fasting. But you get better weight loss if you do a 1 meal a day. And you get even better weight loss if you do a 24-hour fast. And then, of course, 36, 48, 72, and on and on and on. All right, so begin understanding what's going to happen with your blood sugars during the fast. Begin what's happening with your weight during the fast. And anticipate what is going to happen. How are my hormones going to shift? Because your body is going to shift from burning carbs to burning ketones. You may feel that if you're not well rested. So preparing mentally. And then get rest, right? As I said, doing the fast itself needs rest. And then, of course, going into the fast needs rest. You want to make sure you're eating nutrient-dense foods, right, rather than calorie-dense foods. And the nutrient-dense foods tend to be the foods that don't have a lot of processing and a lot of refined sugar. Right, processing and refined sugar. Those two things are culprits in dysregulating the fast. And of course, are the culprits in long-term chronic diseases as well, which is why when we talk about balanced bites, the very first thing we talk about is whole foods. Minimize processing, no added sugar. Those three, that's right, the very top. So make sure you're eating nutrient-dense foods. And then get in community. one of the reasons, and I guess a quick shout out to one of our community members. I was telling you that what happened last night as we were doing the show, and several of our community, I shouldn't say one, several of our community members were on, and they say, hey, you need to get some rest. Hey, you need to get some rest. Hey, you need to take care of yourself. And one of our community members who has been following our 100-day walk to consistency sent a message and said, hey, you just finished a 100-day series. You don't need to jump right into another series. We're going to be here. Take care of yourself because we need you at your best. So shout out to you. Thank you for that message, which is why I love this community. I love being in this space because I get the benefit of, and you guys think that, oh, I'm listening to Dr. Woode and I'm learning and he's teaching us, but I get all of the benefit that comes from community as well, because when you watch the videos, when you comment, I'm watching, I'm looking at those, and I'm actually trying to find that, comment here. Here it is. And it's from Kenty Friendiser. Kenty Friendiser said, Dr. Woode, Wednesday night you checked in as feeling energetic after good rest early in the week. He said, don't stress over making videos every day. Your own health matters more than giving us videos. 100-day walk series just wrapped up. Take a break. No need to jump straight into another challenging task for yourself. We are here, and we want to see you at your most energetic and positive and inspiring. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. That's I said earlier today that I want to make sure that I highlighted that. So thank you for that comment. Community is so important. So remember, get into community. You may think that you've got this. If everything's going fine, your weight's better, your blood sugars are better, A1C is better, you're off medication. If you want that to last, if you want that to be supercharged, make sure you get into community. All right? So that's preparing for the fast. Of course, getting into the fast is what I've been talking, or doing the fast is what I've been talking about. Making sure you're rested. Because even though I was 57 hours into the fast with no hunger, because I was tired, because I needed to distract myself, I was in the refrigerator grabbing something before my brain said, hey, wait. And the other reason I didn't grab something was because I was about to get on the show. Right? I was about to go on screen and show you guys my blood sugars. And yeah. So making sure that you are understanding, make sure you get through the fast. In the fast, make sure you're hydrated. You saw our show last week when I did my check-in and talked about preparing for the camp, and I'm out in the field, had not done a good job of hydration, was in the sun, was carrying stuff, and the guy that was with me, there were a couple of people with me, and they left to go off somewhere to get some things. So I'm in the field by myself, and my car is way over there. There's nobody around. And I bent down to pick something up, and as I came back up, my vision got dark. And I started to feel a little, I said, okay. And I'm standing there, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do now? And so I had the presence of mind to sit down and let that kind of pass, and then I made my way slowly to my car, sat on the bumper in the car, couldn't even open the car at that point, sat on the bumper. I finally was feeling better, opened the car, got something to drink. And then you guys saw the end of that as I broke the fast right here on the show with you. Okay? So making sure that you're hydrated. So rest and hydration. The other thing to make sure is that you don't have things around that's going to trigger you. Remember, we eat for 4 different reasons, right? Habits, emotions, access, and taste. The HEAT model. Habits, emotions, access, and taste. That's why we eat. The routine that we're in, that we've gotten used to, we eat because of emotions. We get stressed, we get anxious, we get depressed, we're tired like I was. All those things. And then access. access is just simply having things around you that are triggers. When you see it, your appetite is going to go up. Even if you've decided, hey, I'm not going to have that. And then, of course, taste. We remember those things. We remember what they taste like. You know, mom's apple pie, cousin so-and-so's peach cobbler, that cookie that we had. All of those things come back to our mind. So habits, emotions, access, and taste. Be mindful as you're moving through your fasting space that you are creating a fasting-friendly environment. And my blood sugars just jumped up, so I want to pull that on the screen really quickly. So, I'm finally starting to feel the effects, or see the effects. I should not say feel. Starting to see the effects of the food that I just ate. So that's the first. So we went from a 69, actually 65, if you remember. We were down a little bit. And let me hop over and take a look at what the Dexcom is saying. So Dexcom is saying 69 or 79. So right about. So that's where we started at 74 and up to 79 right now. Okay, so we're starting to see that. All right, so back to the fast. So make sure you're getting through the fast. You're hydrating. You're resting. Stress will cause dysfunctional fasting as well. Make sure you're understanding that, and you should not be fasting. Let me say this: you should not be fasting in earnest at a stressful time. Now, having said that, even during stress, I will still do like a 1 meal a day. Well, I'll try to do a 1 meal a day. So even during stressful time. So your fasting may not be to the extent that you normally fast outside of that stressful event. So if you're normally doing a 72-hour fast, you may decide, hey, I can't do a 72-hour fast, but I'll do a 24-hour fast. I'll do a 1 meal a day through this process. And that's okay. You remember last night we talked about not using fasting as a punishment. Using food as a reward and fasting as a punishment. What does that mean? Sometimes we go on vacation or we have some event, our birthday, anniversary, some social gathering, and we eat, quote unquote, off of our plan. And so we come back from that, we say, man, I did such a bad job during that event or during that vacation that now I'm going to have to fast. Notice what I just did. I used fasting as a punishment for what I did on the vacation, in the function, whatever it is. Fasting is not punishment. Fasting is you taking charge of your health and deciding that this tool, you're going to use it to right your metabolism, to quote unquote get back on track, to whatever the phrase you're doing. You're using the tool to be able to do that. I'm not punishing myself by fasting because I was bad. That's one idea. The other idea is that I'm not rewarding myself with food because I fasted. Man, I did such a good job. I did a 72-hour fast. So now I get to eat whatever it is. So those two ideas are surefire ways of derailing your fasting. Because either when you're punishing yourself with fasting, you're gonna regret it, and you're not gonna want to do it, or when you're rewarding yourself with food, you're gonna undo the things that you did in the fasting. And so, great place here to talk about breaking the fast. And you saw right here, right now, what I used to break the fast. So I did salad, I did avocados, I did the nuts. So lots of different things you can use. But in the breaking of the fast, there are some things you want to make sure that you're including. You want to make sure you're including some healthy fats. You want to make sure you're including some protein. And the carbs that you're going to eat, because you are going to eat carbs. It is what it is, because it's hard to eat stuff that doesn't have carbs. So you're going to eat some carbs. So the carbs that you're eating you should minimize the processed carbs. Minimize the highly refined sugar, right? So my salad, right, on that there was, of course, the dressing that was processed and had sugar in it. I think it was, what did we say, 1 gram? Right, so you want to minimize those things and make sure that you are doing carbs that are not highly processed and highly refined and high sugar. Because when you break the fast, what you break the fast with in those first 12 to 24 hours is going to dictate what happens over the next couple of days. Because once the insulin comes out, because you ate something that was highly processed, highly refined, once that comes out, the appetite gets stimulated, and you are like, it's almost like you're ravenous. And so we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that we are getting out of the fast in a controlled manner. In fact, I recommend that you decide prior to breaking the fast, prior to getting to the fast, the end of the fast, decide what you're going to eat to break the fast. Don't just let it be whatever you find. That's why I asked the community, what do you want me to break the fast with? Right? In fact, right now, go ahead and drop that in the comments. What do you want me to break the fast with next week? Right, give me some ideas so I can begin preparing for that. Because if you don't do that, then you're going to grab whatever's there, and the thing that you tend to grab is highly refined, has sugar in it. Now, here's another point about the end of the fast. When I'm ending the fast, I don't usually feel hungry. Like when I ended the fast a couple of minutes ago, I'm not hungry. Right, and that's partially because, I've got enough energy to last me. Right? So I'm not hungry. So if you're not hungry when you end the fast, when you go and you add that sugar, all of a sudden the appetite wakes up. So it's still not hunger. It's that psychological hunger now. And it wakes up. And all of a sudden you're grabbing some stuff that you would not normally grab, partially because now the appetite is up. And if you're not careful, the scarcity mentality comes into play. It says, man, I've not been eating for whatever number of hours, number of days. Let me go get it. And so we go and boom, 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 boom. And that takes us into the days of us eating and eating and eating and eating and eating. And we don't want that. We don't want to undo the benefits that we've had while we were fasting. So preparing for the fast is important. Getting through the fast is important. And of course, breaking the fast, very, very important. You want to make sure that you are doing well in all of those. And for breaking the fast, let me put this up so that you can, want to give you some recommendations for that. How do we break the fast? Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Oop, went past it. So when you're talking about breaking the fast, here are some tips. You want to monitor your blood sugar levels. You want to monitor your weight. I monitor blood sugars. I monitor weight. I monitor. I don't usually monitor my ketones when I'm breaking the fast. That's just at the time of the fast, right at the breaking of the fast. Going into the rest of my non-eating time, I don't usually monitor the ketones, but I do monitor blood sugar and I do monitor my weight. And I weigh myself twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. I check my blood sugar because I got my monitors on. Those are giving me information all through the day. I want to know what's going on in my body with the things I do, the foods that I eat, when I'm rested, when I'm stressed, when I am anxious. I want to see what's going on with my blood sugar, because if I have immediate feedback, if I have real-time data, I can do things to mitigate, to improve that. So that's one of the biggest reasons for monitoring blood sugars. And then, of course, make sure that you are portion control. Often, it's not that people are eating the wrong things, but they're eating too much of whatever the thing is. So you want to make sure that that's not the case with you. You want to make sure that you're eating slowly when you break the fast, because it takes about 20 minutes for the signal to get from your stomach to your brain that you are full. 20 minutes. And in that time, if you're not careful, you can have eaten 2 to 3 times the food that you should eat, right, in terms of portion size. And then you want to make sure that you're avoiding sugary, highly processed foods, as we've mentioned already. Make sure that is the case. because if you don't, then that can cause all kinds of issues downstream. And then make sure that you are prioritizing foods that are healthy. You're prioritizing foods. Well, skipping through a few things here. Prioritizing foods that are nutrient dense, not calorie dense. You want things that are gentle on your digestive system. You want low glycemic index foods. That's foods that have a glycemic index of 50 or less. Lean protein, healthy fats, and then of course, you want to make sure that you are well hydrated. Okay, so make sure that those things are the case. Because if you're not, then that sets us up from all kinds of issues with the fast, and we don't get all the benefits that we should in the fast. So make sure that you are not derailing yourself by doing things when you break the fast to undo some of the benefits that you got in the fast. All right? Awesome. So I'm excited. I'm excited that you're here, excited that you are in this community. Remember, all that we do is built on our Triple E formula for success. It is that we educate, we empower, we encourage. We educate with the shows, the blogs, the podcast. We empower with the tools that we're learning. Fasting, balance bites, our 100-day walk to consistency. And by the way, on that 100-day walk to consistency, we have a bonus week that we're doing before we get to our new series. So make sure you join us. It's called The Bridge to Mastery. The Bridge to Mastery. How do we take what we've learned over the last 100 days and create a space, create a thought, create a mindset that now takes us into our next piece of that journey. So all those are tools. And then we encourage with the community that you are part of, this amazing community that supports me, that supports you. We get to support each other. If you've not done that yet, make sure you get to our, get on the channel. There should be a button right there somewhere that says join. Come on, join with us as we support each other and we move to the future. You can be a voice for change in your community, at your church, at your school, wherever that is. And I said this to someone in the office maybe last week or this week, and they said, say that on your show. So what I do, I love. You guys see, I love teaching. I love being in this space. And we have a series that we're working on. It's called Limitless Living on the Go. Well, I should say the series, the process that we're on, Limitless Living on the Go. So if you've got a church, you've got a community center, you've got a men's group, a women's group, you've got some teens, you've got a youth group, you've got a community center, you got your family reunion, and you're interested in someone being there to discuss metabolic disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, fatty liver, obesity, I can tell my story of going from 287 pounds to what you saw there, 184 pounds. Okay? Let us know. We would love to be on the road. We would love to be on the go, sharing that information with you and with your group, with your community. But when you come here, I want you to get involved. I want you to make sure that you are working and doing the things that we're talking about. Because the theory is great, but it doesn't come to life until you infuse it with your action. Every time you make a decision, every time you fast, every time you make a decision about healthy balanced bites, every time you say, okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm eating lean protein, healthy fats, every time you say I'm going to deal with my portions, all of that, every time you do that, you are improving and you're infusing what we're learning with action. And then invite somebody here, let them know, hey, come on, let's go watch this show. The series that we've been doing, it's all on the YouTube channel. You guys get together as a group, watch it. We've broken up the 100-day walk into weeks. Go watch one of the weeks and get into that process. And then, of course, be with us as we move into the next series of our walking, exercising, and movement, right? So movement is a pillar in limitless living. Movement is a pillar. You have to move, whether that's to burn calories, improve insulin resistance, keep your joints lubricated, lose weight, whatever it is, you got to move. And that's what that series is all about. We will be back here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for Video from the Vault. And then on Sunday, This Week in Review. And then we'll be right back here Monday at 7 p.m. Central for Dwain Woode, MD. I'm so glad that you are here. Let me go ahead. I'm going to hop over and say hi to some. I see some comments in there, and we'll do that before we go. So Gian had guessed that we were going to do 2.5, and you guys saw what it was. 1.3, I think, is what we finally saw. Let's see. Let's go back up. So Gian 2.5. Just to make sure I don't miss anything up here. So Boy, hey, how are you? Yes, 2.5. Gian says, learning fasting is always inspiring. Thank you, Dr. Woode. Teach us about fasting. I don't think... I think you're saying about the number. Yeah, 1.3. She said, thank you for the nuts and salad, right? So Gian actually was the one who recommended nuts and salad. Bowie says, hi, everybody. I'm arriving just in time for... dinner. Yes. And I've mentioned that we may do a show where we actually have you guys come on screen, where we'll have like a table, you guys will be on screen, and we'll all eat whatever it is that we're using to break the fast. I've got to figure out how to do that. Actually, it shouldn't be too hard, but I keep saying that I got to do that. We need to do that. Gio said, Doctor, I think your ketones must higher 1.3. What do you think? Is somehow wrong? No, it's ketones, right? So anything above 1.5 is normal. I mean, is considered good. So hi Bui, Gian, I want to try the dressing. Yeah, so the ranch is my favorite. Gian says, I'm excited, doctor, for first bite 72 hours. I made a big tub of kimchi. Oh, Bui. I need to come get some from you. And we're close to each other, by the way. So I gotta figure out how to get over there. Gian said, oh my, boy, it's great. I don't know how to make kimchi. She said, wow, really? I love to talk about fasting. This is why I love Limitless Living Group community. Yeah, glad that you're here, Gian. So hard to make it for me. I'm very good at eating, not making. Boy says, probably easy to buy there. It's expensive to buy here. Expensive. We save money fasting. Yes. So fasting is free. Did I say that? Fasting is free. You don't have to go buy anything. You don't have to go change it. It's like, okay, I'm fasting today. Boom, done. Well, not boom, done. You don't have to pay anything. You have to get into the schedule and work it into your life. The beauty of fasting is that it's free. It's me who suggested nuts and salad. Yes, it was. And it is 7:44 here. And Gion, I think she says it's 9. She's in Korea. Doctor's at least last meal for the day. No, I'm probably gonna have something else. I gotta get some more protein in there. Are the nuts salted? Yes, they were salted. They have sea salt, lightly sea salted, I think is what it's called. I can eat giant size in one sitting. How could you in balanced bites in nuts? How could you How could you do balanced bites in nuts? Well, nuts would be considered part of balanced bites, right? So lean protein, healthy fat. Yeah. Decrease insulin is key point here. Yes, decrease insulin. The goal of fasting. Well, let me back up. The goal of health, the goal of wellness, as we talk about it, the goal is to right our metabolism, to get our metabolism balanced again. And so the culprit, the thing by far that affects that, our ability to do that, is insulin. So our goal, yes, is to decrease insulin. Let's say Tuesday, last meal. Wednesday, Thursday, no food. Friday, break fast. Yes. It's 8 here. I'm getting ready to sleep. Good. Pamela. Hey, Pamela, how are you saying? How are you doing? Love that message to you. Hi, Pam. I love that message too. Oh, yes. All community members cherish Doctor. Yeah, thank you all. You guys are a huge part of my support group, so thank you much. Access is a big trigger for me. Yes. Healthy, habits, emotions, access, and taste. I love to use fasting for punishment. Yeah, I have to change my mindset. Yes, fasting is not a punishment. Punishing fasting, reward food. Yeah, that's the loop that we get into. And if we keep in that loop, then it becomes very difficult to break out. Avocados and nuts and salads for next week. My problem is eating so fast and too much. Yeah, that's a big problem for a lot of us. All right, so like I said, we'll see you again. So tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, video from the vault. Sunday morning, This Week in Review, and then back Monday for Dwain Woode MD Live at 7 p.m. Central as we continue our walk in the limitless living pathway, and we move from there. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for hanging out. I will see you at our next episode. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.